In this lecture, I will review perspectives on diversity, folk beliefs about conception and fertility. I found this article by Sarah Noor, who was fact-checked by Jamie Frater, entitled 10 Bizarre Means of Conception Found in Mythology and Folklore. I thought it would be interesting to review this with you. So, mythology and folklore have long been a means of vicarious wish fulfillment. A woman who struggled to conceive long ago might have taken comfort in these stories of miraculous pregnancies, no matter how long or strange or believable they may seem to be. Okay, number 10. By the way, I'm going to do the top 10, okay? So number 10, eating a human heart. It's a Sicilian folklore. In the Sicilian folklore, Saint Honoria, two hunters get lost in the woods and find a luxurious cabin. Now, they make themselves at home and are drawn to the fireplace by the heavenly aroma, which turns out to be a human heart buried under the firewood. This heart has hypnotic power. The hunters can't resist taking it with them, and when they arrive at the inn, the innkeeper's daughter can't resist stealing it and eating it. Despite being a virgin, the daughter becomes pregnant. She is beaten by her father, who believes she disgraced the family. But once the child is born, it's revealed that the heart belonged to Saint Honoria, who'd been killed in a fire and returned to Earth to teach moral lessons to the abusive father and the rest of humanity. There are similar stories throughout Europe. Most involve a dead hermit rather than a saint, and a young woman who either smells or eats his heart or some other portion of his body to bring him back to life. But this version is only one that has a second coming of Christ theme in it. Okay, number 9, eating a grain of wheat as a chicken. Welsh mythology. During King Arthur's rule, an enchantress named Sheriwen, I can't even pronounce her name, but finds recipe for a potion that will grant beauty and wisdom to her ugly, quote-unquote, dim-witted son. This potion has to be boiled for 1 year and 1 day. So she believes the cauldron in the care of a servant boy named Batch. While he stirs the concoction, 3 drops splash onto his finger and burn him. He puts his finger in his mouth and absorbs the beauty and wisdom intended for Sheriwen's son. The cauldron then spills in half because all the enchantment is contained in those 3 drops, while the rest is coercive poison. When Sheriwen discovers what happened, she's furious. So Batch turns into a hare. The potion also gives him power to shapeshift, and he runs away. She transforms into a greyhound to chase him down. So he turns into a fish and jumps into a river. She goes after him as an otter. He turns into a bird and takes off flying. She flies after him as a hawk. Finally, Bash drops from the sky as a grain of wheat. Not to be outdone, but she turns into a hen and swallows him. When she discovers she's pregnant, she plans to kill the child after it's born. But the baby is so beautiful that she has mercy on him, puts him in a bag, and throws him into the ocean instead. Luckily, the baby washes up on shore, is rescued by a prince, and grows up to become the famed Welsh poet Tennyson, who has never confirmed nor denied this story of his birth. Okay, moving on to number 8. Pregnant by water and sunbeam. It's a Navajo mythology. Navajo mythology has 2 important female figures. The Changin woman, who represents the earth and the seasons, and her sister, White Shell woman. Apparently, they were too important to be satisfied with regular men. One day, the sisters were out walking and suddenly felt in need of male companionship. So, Changin woman lay on a rock and spread her legs out to the sun, which somehow resulted in her first menstrual cycle, while White Shell woman lay in a mountain stream and became the wife of water. As the sun and water were all too happy to oblige them, the sisters became pregnant. Changin woman had a son named Monster Slayer, and White Shell woman had a son named Water Child. In other versions of this story, Changin woman is the mother of both sons, having been impregnated by water 4 days after giving birth to Monster Slayer. Okay, so number 7, pregnant by snow and fire. It's a European folklore. Number 6, eating a flower. Norwegian folklore. Number 5, putting an almond on your breast. Greek mythology. Number 4, being showered by gold. Greek mythology. Number 3, stepping on a god's footprint. Chinese folklore. Number 2, a snake sliding into a uterus. Italian folklore. And number 1, which I will tell you in detail, a ball of hummingbird feathers. Aztec mythology. Once upon a time, according to the Aztecs, a goddess named Coquelicue was weeping up a temple when a ball of hummingbird feathers fluttered down from the heavens. She picked it up, tucked it into her belt, and soon found herself pregnant. But that's not the weird part. At this point, she already had 400 other children. The 400 stars that make up the Milky Way. For some reason, they weren't happy about another sibling, so they conspired to kill the baby. But that's not the weird part. With her daughter leading the charge, all the children assemble and storm into their mother's home armed with weapons, ready to kill her and her unborn child. But then her son, the great warrior, burst out of her womb fully grown, wearing armor and carrying weapons, and kills them all. Yup, that's the weird part. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this Perspectives on Diversity moment in regards to folk beliefs about conception and fertility based on different cultures.